Hello, citizens of Gotham. My name is Graham Elwood, the political vigilante. That's the show you are watching. We are here in beautiful El Salvador near Isla La Piraya. Every time I'm getting a little bit better. Like every video I've done, it sounds a little more local, a little less gringo. Um, so we're here with Quinton, who this island in a short amount of time. Bitcoin came here maybe 6 months ago, and
Yes, a bit more than that.
a bit more than
Yeah.
that. And so it's been adopted rather quickly. But before we get into what's happening today, I really want to know how you found this island. What I mean, you're here with you're from France. Your girlfriend is from Mexico,
Yes.
and you obviously both speak Spanish very well. Obviously, she does. Your English is very good. How did you find this place, man? I mean, it's beautiful, but like this is so remote.
So I don't have the credit for finding the place. I have been contacted by Mi Primer Bitcoin, the NGO that does um, Bitcoin education here in El Salvador. They contacted me to come live on the island and to be the person spreading the word here of Bitcoin and to help this island in particular adopt Bitcoin. So they found the
They
place.
found the island. Okay,
Yes.
were you already living in El Salvador?
No, I've been traveling for almost 18 months now, and I started in Mexico. I went to El Salvador, Guatemala, went back to Mexico. El Salvador did that a few times, and I've been called by John, the founder of Mi Primer Bitcoin, in March, and he offered me the opportunity to come back here to live on this island. So at first I was a bit hesitant because I had been there before and I knew it was kind of an island, isolated. Um, but I said, okay, let's go, let's do it. And it's been 2 months now.
It's been 2 months. So
Yeah,
you've been here with your girlfriend for two
yeah,
months.
yeah.
And in that 2 months, so had you visited the island a couple of times before you moved here?
Once, yeah.
Once.
In December, we came to the graduation of the Bitcoin diploma that Mi Primer Bitcoin organized on the island. So it must have been like a 10 weeks diploma, and after the 10 weeks they organize the graduation where they invite teachers or people to be the the ones in charge of verifying that the students know how to manage a Bitcoin wallet and stuff.
Which is again, we've talked in some of you've watched some of the other videos, but in case you haven't, so Me Premium Bitcoin is an NGO, non-governmental organization, whose goal is to educate the citizens of El Salvador about how to use Bitcoin, how to use it for their business, how to accept it, how to understand all of that, and also what you guys are doing is really giving back to the community, as we saw earlier in the hub or whatever
The communal house.
the communal house,
Uh-huh.
the Bitcoin communal house, on how you're not you're teaching people English, you're also teaching people Spanish because some
Yeah.
people didn't have a formal Spanish
Mm-hmm.
education.
Mm-hmm.
You're teaching people how to do things like do acrylic nails
Mm-hmm.
and how to make that a business. And there's a people you were saying there's a problem with people just kind of throwing trash around. So you're
Mm-hmm.
saying every Sunday you hire kids to clean up the
Yeah.
island and you pay them in Bitcoin.
Yeah. We do that.
That's amazing, man. So how long have you been known about Bitcoin itself? Like, how did you first get into Bitcoin?
So I myself started in 2017, and of course I went the shitcoin road for a few years. I was learning about Bitcoin in the background, but I was still, you know, uh, attracted by the gains. So I was,
We all, so have I. We've all fallen for that. We all wanted to buy ten
yeah,
thousand coins at 5 cents and hope they go to 1,000 million. We're millionaires,
exactly.
of course.
And so yeah, lost a bunch of money like that. And little by little, I started learning about Bitcoin, how it was the only one, and and then I started accumulating it again.
So tell us about some of the issues on this island that
Okay.
you're having to deal with, because it's as we learn from a local here, Mauro, this island really only became inhabited in the 1980s during the Civil War. For those of you who don't know, there was an awful civil war in El Salvador between roughly 1980 and 1992, and so people were
Hmm.
coming here, as it was just explained to us, to basically hide their sons from having to fight on either side.
Exactly.
So we met a local man who runs this restaurant now, and this is like a floating part of his restaurant. Um, Came here when he was 6, and has lived here just basically his whole life. So because of that history,
Hmm.
it really, which is shows the history of this country. I mean, it has had, because you went from the Civil War ended in 1992, and then from the 90s till a year, 15 months ago, you had the gang violence.
Hmm.
So this country has lived in some type of war or violence for
Yeah.
4 decades.
Yeah, it must have been very, very hard to live for the people of El Salvador. So here, there's not much of a history, like as you said, people arrived like 40 years ago, like it's very new, and so they have been living in the survival mode. I think the local government hasn't helped a lot in the past decades. um, so they have been surviving a lot, and they've been working in like fishing, shell harvesting, stuff like that, but not much more than that. They've been living a lot from remittances also, and so there has been there have been issues on the island that haven't been uh, tackled since the beginning, I believe. And so there is an example. There is no trash collection. There is
Mm,
no trash management. So they throw trash on the ground, in the sea, and there is no other way that they do it. So that's a huge problem because when it's raining, uh, puddles are formed in the streets,
mhm.
and these puddles fill with trash and animal feces, and it becomes filthy. It's not livable, and it's not something that you can present to tourists. So if we want tourism to grow on the island, we have to tackle these big issues that are deeply rooted and that are gonna take a lot of time and investment to change, because it's gonna be about changing people's mentality, their habits, the way they do things. And I myself can't do it. I can teach Bitcoin, I can present a brighter future, but I can't say you shouldn't do that.
Right.
Mhm.
How have you and your girlfriend been met? I mean, has there been resistance? Have people been nice? I mean, is it
So I arrived 2 weeks before her. She met me 2 weeks later, and so at first people were like, "Oh, it's another tourist guy," so just saying hi and stuff. Um, but I was not taken seriously in a way. Like I was the guy that was just passing by. And so when I was saying that I was gonna live here and start working with them, and that we were gonna change things here, and presenting this brighter future, they were like, "Yeah, okay, whoever you are." Um, and so that was kind of funny. And my first job here was to show myself. I had
mm,
to walk, I had to say hello, present who I am, what I do, um, and little by little, people started accepting me. Yeah, and there's still a huge resistance in the work that we do, but it's not a, a conscious resistance. It's like most people say, yeah, yeah, okay, let's do it, let's do it. It's just that after saying yes, the actions do not
right?
follow. but most people here are open, and they want to do good stuff, and work for the betterment of the island and the community.
Now that you're so the it sounds like we were talking to Nancy earlier, who's like one of your students who's really kind of seeing this potential,
Hmm.
it sounds
Hmm.
like. And we met the other gentleman that has the little like ice
Yeah.
stand. Um, it seems like, and I guess that'll just take time. When those folks tell their friends and family, this is working.
Hmm.
This isn't just some foreign guy, because they probably look at you like a gringo, right? Like,
Yeah, they
yeah,
call me that
they
too.
call you.
Even though I've never been to the United States.
I know. Okay. Yeah. Um, so yeah, it seems like though that we talked to the guy in the motorcycle shop who's just started to accept it, but no
Hmm.
one has used it yet with him,
Yeah.
just because um, the people that are getting their motorcycles fixed are probably primarily men, and they're not accepting it for their
Hmm.
businesses or
Hmm.
whatever. So I mean, again, you've only been here 2 months. There's Bitcoin's only been on the island for less than a year, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which
It's very new.
it's very new. I mean, it's new to this country. When people say, it's only been almost not even 2 years since
Hmm.
Bukele made it official, but the level of adoption countrywide is pretty significant when you look at like where I'm from, America, where you're from,
Hmm.
France.
Yeah.
What's the adoption there? 5% maybe, if that.
Less
Yeah,
than that.
1-2%.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you're in a place where it's anywhere from 20 to 50 or 60. Like obviously El Zonte is like
Yeah.
80, 90%. Um, I mean, since you've only been here 2 months, do you have times where you feel discouraged because there's so many issues to deal with, or do you feel like,
Yeah, I have felt discouraged several times,
Mhm.
but it's part of the experience. I mean, if you don't feel discouraged, that means you're not doing something that is relevant. I mean, you have to feel a bit discouraged if you want the mission to be beautiful also. So, yeah, I mean, power goes out 24 hours every other day. Power goes out, so that's part of the experience, and I'm doing everything I can to be in contact with the local government, and maybe try to leverage my position to say, like, if we're gonna build a Bitcoin circular economy and bootstrap tourism here on this particular island, we have to fix this problem, and that's my leverage. So I try to use it with relevant people that can maybe do something about it, so that they can help us, because yeah, we have many issues.
right? Because that's one of the issues. I mean, just traveling around and doing a couple of Bitcoin purchases. Um, a couple of them were very easy to do. Some of them there was some issues just
Mm-hmm.
because when you have electricity going out almost every other day, and then you have not great internet,
Mm-hmm.
that affects people's ability to use the Lightning wallets
Yeah.
on their phones. Um, but when you say leverage, I find that interesting because I'm sitting here thinking, well, yeah, the president said we're going to take Bitcoin. So
Mm-hmm.
when you say to the government, I need help, are they like, what, I mean, what direct officials are you speaking with, and what are they saying? I mean, obviously they probably have this issue nationwide, so they're,
Yeah, the the local government here particularly has not an immense power. Like,
okay.
it's not well funded, or at least that's what I'm being told. And they're trying to help me. I'm trying to involve them. Um, for now, we won't be able to fix these deeply rooted issues. It's gonna need more time, maybe more private investment, um, or maybe just more, like, we need the island to be put more in the spotlight, so that higher levels of the government maybe will start changing things. Yeah,
Mm.
because it lacks public lighting, it lacks um, trash management, trash collection. Uh, the seawater comes into the island, so we need dams or stuff like that.
Some
It's
type of irrigation to,
yeah,
yeah.
and we have to drain the puddles as well, the rain puddles. So lots need to be done.
Um, could you do this alone, or
No.
like do you and your girlfriend just kind of go? I mean, how did you convince her to want to do this? Is she, or
Um,
was she excited about it as you were,
no.
or?
she she followed me because I was telling her like, if you want to come, you're welcome. I understand if you don't. And she said, why not? And she just came with me, and I'm so glad she did because she's been very important. At first, she was only meant to give English classes, and she started working with me. She has this contact with the people. She has much more patience than I do. She's a Latino,
Yeah.
so she has this feeling with people that I don't have, and people close themselves in a way with me because I'm the gringo. Um, and yeah, but regarding all these issues, we won't be able to do much. We can the whole idea of my project is to be here 6 months. So I have 6 months to showcase the island. I have 6 months to start something and show these people that something can be done, but that they will have to work for it. I won't be here to do the work. I can show them what a bright future they can have if they're willing to
Sure.
look at it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And so that's why we are organizing this Bitcoin festival in August, which will be the event where we're gonna showcase the island. We're gonna teach people to build businesses and to use their already existing businesses to sell their products, food, beverages, crafts during this event. We're gonna showcase like the local sports, which is football playa, beach soccer. We're gonna organize a tiny football tournament, and we're gonna bring tourists, and we're gonna show tourists that La Piraya is a beautiful island where you can invest, where you can go travel, where you can go visit, and show the people of La Piraya that if you put in the effort, people will come.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So let's talk a little bit more about that event, which is August 6th. And so you're trying to mainly attract like Bitcoiners to come to see, because there's a whole, what I'm noticing here that's happening in El Salvador is there's like Bitcoin tourism.
Yes.
I mean, I guess I'm sort of part of that in that I've been looking to go to specific stores, and I rented my surfboard with Bitcoin.
Hmm.
And so tell us who you're trying to attract here, because it's not just like tourists, it's also people that can provide some sort of teaching or service to the community,
Yeah.
correct?
The whole goal is to attract both Bitcoiners so that they look at the island, look at the Bitcoin adoption, and say, "Wow, we have to come back here. I have to talk about it, like to my um, audience, to my family, to my friends." And at the same time, we want to bring Salvadorans, people that don't know anything about Bitcoin, because we want to show the island, and so we have to show it to everybody. And so the event will be Bitcoin only, and it's going to be a huge challenge because we're going to bring many people that know nothing about Bitcoin. And what we'll have to do is give them instant education. Tell them, okay, give me your $10 bills. I give you $10 in Bitcoin in your wallet. We install it. Then you can go straight to the food stand and buy your hot dog or whatever, and participate in this massive orange peeling day. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the thing that's so in yeah, interesting and inspiring, because yeah, this could obviously be a tourist destination just for El Salvadorians. I mean, this was about,
This is what it is right now.
yeah, okay, yeah, because it was about 2.5 hour drive for me. We drove from El Zonte, so that means it's probably 3 hours or so from San Salvador. Um, so it is like a nice, quiet getaway
It is.
from the city. It's just beautiful here, and you can rent jet skis and boats, and there's beautiful things to do. But that's the thing that's so fascinating to me, and the thing that I'm so impressed by is the Bitcoiners that are coming here really seem to be about building something more than just I want to get rich from
Yeah.
Bitcoin or I want to buy property. They want to do more with. They want to give back to the community. That's
Yeah.
the thing I'm seeing.
I think they want to build communities because that's what Bitcoin is all about. It's a huge international community that is mostly digital because we're online and the money is digital, but at the same time it's very 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 physical. We have to meet. We like to gather. We like to share, and I think El Salvador is the place where the spotlight is, thanks to its accepting Bitcoin as legal tender. So yeah, Bitcoiners come here and they want to build it as the lighthouse of the Bitcoin community.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. The lighthouse of the Bitcoin community. Um, how long are you going to stay here?
Um, so we're supposed to stay maybe 3 or 4 months more.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then what?
then we'll see.
So you might stay longer.
um, it all depends on the funds and on the funding. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see.
So the funding for what your project here is through my Premier Bitcoin.
Yeah, we are. This project is funded by Bitcoin Beach, and Mi Primer Bitcoin manages the funds, and I'm the one using them. So
Okay.
I'm part of the Mi Primer Bitcoin team, and we manage the funds together. I'm not doing my own stuff.
Is there a way for somebody watching, if they wanted to support what you're doing here, could they support it?
Yes, directly sending funds to Mi Primer Bitcoin.
Which
Yeah.
is, how do they do that?
That's a great question. I think online you have a way to donate directly.
So
If you
at their
go,
website,
yeah, on the website.
which is what, meprimitivebitcoin.com or
.io.
.io?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
MiPrimerBitcoin.io.
meprimitivbitcoin.io. I'll put the link in the comments as well, because that's something you could help support. And I'm assuming they take fiat donations and of course Bitcoin donations as well. I would assume.
I think for now it's mostly Bitcoin donations.
Bitcoin donations.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing I'm getting here, and I everyone talks about hodling their Bitcoin, which it's good to save because we all know, all of us people who believe in Bitcoin know it's going to go up and up. But I think, and this is part of the education as I understand it, is we all should save some of our Bitcoin, but you also need to give back, to put it all. And that's the thing I would say, same with money. Like if you had all this money in the bank and all you do is buy Maseratis or something, that's not. You got to give back to the community. You got to be of service. You got to do. A lot of religions have what they call tithing. Whatever religions or spirituality you practice, whether you're agnostic, atheist, whatever, um, and if you're a Bitcoiner, it's good to give a little back. It's good
Yeah.
to because I was like, oh, I don't want to spend my Bitcoin, but I was like, no, I actually want to support what's happening here. So I'm happy to spend some of my Bitcoin here.
Yeah, and I think the feeling of giving is way better than the feeling of receiving.
Yeah. Oh, it's better than buying some Rolex or what. I mean, look, man, I drive an electric Chevy. I always say, I always make this comparison about the big fancy cars. You want to have a fancy car, you want to live a nice life, okay, fine. But like, I rent a lot of cars in the United States because I'm a traveling comedian, and sometimes they'll just upgrade me. I remember one time they upgraded me to a Jaguar. I was like, oh wow, Jaguar, and I get in the Jaguar, and at the time I was driving a Kia, an electric Kia, and I was like, this Jaguar's not nicer than my Kia. So what am I paying for?
Yeah.
The big dashboard and the Jaguar symbol, and so I can drive around and say, I was like, what am I paying for? My Kia was comfortable. You know, it was comfortable. It was
Yeah.
nice. It had nice music. It had a sunroof.
Cars are the biggest scam.
Their biggest scam. And it's like, so if you got the money to buy a Maserati or something like that, why don't you buy a Toyota Camry or something or a Kia and then give the rest of the money to somebody who could use it and help them out?
Hmm.
Because I guarantee you'll feel better. I'm thinking about I want to make a lot of money, not so that I can drive a Lamborghini, but I'm walking around this island and everything you showed me. The first thing I thought of was like, I want to help this island.
Yeah.
I wish I had the money
Hmm.
to come in here and just go, I'm going to pay to fix the irrigation, to,
Hmm.
I'll start a waste management company and
That'd be
hire,
great.
I would, I,
Please do.
I would love to set up too what I want to do, and this is for all over the world, but especially here,
Hmm.
independent solar
Yeah,
power.
that'd
So,
be amazing.
so then there's no power going out.
Hmm.
Everyone has solar panels on their roof.
Yeah.
Everyone has a little battery.
Yeah.
Everyone's taken care of. That's the future. I mean,
Hmm.
like if Bitcoin is decentralized, we should have decentralized electricity,
Yeah.
right? We should have decentralized energy. We should
Hmm.
have. That's the beauty of Bitcoin is it's decentralized. And so anything that's centralized, like a big utility company and a big generator, and there's a rainstorm and the
Hmm.
generator goes out and then everyone loses their power,
Exactly.
versus if there's just like this one restaurant, let's say this one restaurant solar power goes out for whatever reason, which
Hmm.
can happen. They can just get power from their neighbor.
Hmm. Yeah.
They can just, and not the whole island's out.
Hmm.
So anyway, that's what I see. Every once in a while I buy a lottery ticket and I think, how many people can I help with this lottery? um, well, this has been fascinating, man. I really appreciate you taking your time and introducing us to people on the island.
Thanks to you.
Oh, my pleasure. And this is what this channel is about. I don't have a big YouTube channel. I've been censored and all this other stuff, but I want to show my audience that this is a guy from France with his girlfriend from Mexico that are here in El Salvador on a small little island that's
Yeah.
only been inhabited for 40 years, helping people out. And there's a lot of ways to help people out. You don't have to necessarily relocate to an island,
Mm-mm.
but
That's the more extreme
that's the
way
way.
of doing it. You can give
Yeah,
donations.
yeah,
That's a start.
yeah. You could give donations. So,
Hmm.
um, what would you like to see here? What? I know there's times when you said where it's frustrating. Like you said, anything that's challenge, anything worth doing is going to have frustration.
Hmm.
It's going to have. But what do you on the positive side? Because the one thing about there's so much hope on this island.
Yeah.
This country,
Hmm.
this whole country. This country needs a lot. It's been in war for 4 decades. It's had politicians that have stolen all the money.
Hmm.
It needs infrastructure. It needs so much stuff. But there's actually hope here. There's people like
Yeah.
that's the thing that I think is attracting a lot of Bitcoiners here, and El Salvadorians are moving back from like the
Yeah.
United States
Yeah.
and Canada. And
Hmm.
so how do you what are your hopes? What do you think can happen reasonably?
Um, what I'd like to see is a growth in businesses, in the
Mhm.
number of businesses. I want people to start companies here, even small gigs or activities. The water is still. We could have like a paddle boarding. That was an idea given to me by
Mm.
Sam. Um, Paddle boards. That would be amazing. Seeing
Oh
paddle
yeah.
boards here, stuff like that. Like I want people here to start investing in their own community, and instead of throwing trash on the ground, saying like, "Wait, that's where I live. Like that's my property. I need to take care of it because it's worth something. I'm not in survival mode anymore. I want it to grow. I want it to be beautiful. I want it to be like fruitful, and I want it to thrive. So I'm gonna do something for it, for myself, build a business, and for my community.
Mm.
That's all I wish for them.
Mm. That's beautiful. Anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to tell the audience?
Yeah, come to La Piraya. It's a beautiful place. There's a lot to visit. Not not much actually, but it's beautiful. There are beautiful landscapes. So come here.
If you want to come and just chill, this is the
Yeah,
spot.
exactly.
Just relax, play in the water, get some nice food. It's so tranquil and nice. So, muchas gracias, amigo.
Gracias
Uh,
a ti.
it's so wonderful. So I really appreciate what you're doing.
Cool.
The Bitcoiners I've met, I've been here like a week now. It's been really cool.
Cool. That's amazing.
There's a lot of fear and anxiety in America right now.
Yeah. Everywhere. In
Everywhere.
Europe, I
Oh
think
yeah,
too.
oh yeah, with the war in Ukraine.
Yeah. Better to be here.
Yeah. So, and it also shows. I always say this, like, it's not that the whole world should move to El Salvador. The whole world should do what El Salvador is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can inspire hope where you're at. You could start a little Bitcoin circular economy in your town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could find out little solutions to problems within your community, because that's what it's going to take. This started, Bitcoin in this country started at Bitcoin Beach in El Zonte,
Mm-hmm.
and it grew from there. And then somehow Bukele found out about it, and he decided.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, man.
The history of the story of El Salvador accepting Bitcoin is kind of crazy.
A bunch of surfers in El Zonte came up with Bitcoin, or started using Bitcoin, and then the president made the whole country use it, and he locked up all the criminals.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing what he did. It's amazing. So it gives me hope that when you see big governments and decades of corruption, and you think, oh, this will never change. That's what people here thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
El Salvadorians thought, oh, this is never going to change. It'll never be the same. And now look how different it is, and there's hope. And this island was not immune to the gang extortion. Here's the thing, a statistic that Max Kaiser gave me. $6 billion a year was paid by El Salvadorians in extortion money to the gangs, because just about everyone, there's some people who didn't have to, they kind of were wealthy or had a nice, but most of the country, $6 billion a year. The GDP, right, the gross domestic product, was 28 billion a year.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about 20% of everybody's was given. So now that he arrested all the criminals, it's like every El Salvadorian just got a 20 to 30% pay increase, because all that money they were making that they had to give to the gangs, they don't have to give to the gangs anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that means, like, the woman who runs the little pupuseria, which is like their little sort of taco here, well, now she has money to buy a second grill to expand her business, or this guy can get something to fix his boat or improve his, rather than give that to the gangs. So it's this huge infusion of cash from locking everybody up.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, that's transformative.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, the future of El Salvador is bright.
Very bright.
Mm-hmm.
It's very bright. It's not fixed overnight. It's not a utopia, but the future here, there's so much potential.
Mm-hmm.
So come visit, see for yourself, and start. If you don't understand Bitcoin, I have a bunch of Bitcoin videos. I always say go to the bitcoin.com YouTube channel. They have a Bitcoin 101 playlist, and they do such a good job of just explaining it. Because I always tell people, I needed it explained to me like I was a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if a horsey had a Bitcoin, and like, I needed it explained to me that way. So don't feel like, oh, I don't get it. We all felt dumb when we first learned Bitcoin.
Yeah.
We all didn't get it. So
yeah, it's a huge deconstruction to build back on top of what you just unlearned, because Bitcoin is about unlearning and then maybe learning. But first you have to unlearn everything that you thought you knew. That's the most important.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Quentin, and thank you to Nancy and everybody here, Sandy Waves, who's helped take me here, and everyone that we've met on the island. This has been really fantastic. So please support everything that we're doing. Go to grahamelwood.com. So you can support me from doing stuff like this. You can support me on Patreon on rockfin.com/grahamelwood. Sign up for my newsletter, because the social media companies can interfere with me communicating to you. Like YouTube, you won't get notifications, but if you subscribe to my newsletter, I send maybe one email a month, sometimes every other month. So I'm not going to clutter your inbox. And you get a free vegan smoothie recipe when you sign up for my newsletter. So go to grahamelwood.com, and we have more cool stuff coming this way. So thank you so much. Quentin, muchas
Thank you.
gracias. And follow the Money Connected Dots, get the truth, and shave your knuckles for justice. Boom, boom.